today's video is going to be the last first impressions that I need to do for a little while, but I'm going to be doing a first impressions on the Odens and Makeup Just for Fun Flora Story palette. I used the Batty Bean palette yesterday for the first time, and then I used my Snow White palette from ColourPop on Friday, which was 2 days ago. So now I'm dipping into this guy. I'm really excited to try this palette out. It looks absolutely stunning. This was the one that I was drawn to the most when I saw the 3 color stories revealed from this collection. Her palette was definitely the one that spoke to me the most. Outer packaging is stunning, of course. And this is what the inner packaging looks like. It's the same deal. And this is the inside of this guy. Honestly, I could go in a bunch of different directions today for my look, but what I'm intending on doing with this one, let's just show you guys a close-up real quick. It's a really beautiful color story full of purples and greens and some neutral tones and some blues and greens and just gorgeous shimmers. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shade, and this shade in my crease. And then for my lid, I really want to use the shade Lush because I'm wearing my Mulan shirt today. And I thought that color would go really well on my lid because I think it would be really pretty for this look. So I'm actually getting ready to see Ant-Man. I'm going with a couple of my friends to a theater in Queens, and we're gonna go see Ant-Man together. I'm very excited. Obviously, after you guys see this, I won't be there anymore, but so that's why I'm not like too crazy about telling you guys where we're going. And I'm super pumped. I just need to get out and do something fun with my friends, so I'm really excited. So the first shade I'm gonna go into, like I said, is the shade Shroom, and I'm just gonna take that on my brush. That is a very pigmented color. And I'm just going to go right in with that. I already primed my eyes with my usual Anastasia eye primer. And then I just set my eyes with my Urban Decay powder. And I used, of course, my ColourPop Luxe Lip Oil on my lips. It's always the same. I always use the ColourPop Luxe Lip Oils because they're my absolute favorite lip oils. And I love using them when I get ready. So I'm using my Odens eye brush today because I wanted to use my Odens eye brush at least once to do these looks because, you know, I like using them with their shadows. So yeah, so I'm really excited to see the movie. We're actually seeing this movie a lot earlier than when I saw Black Panther because I didn't see Black Panther until like a month ago. Like for some reason I just did not have the time to see it earlier, but this one has only been out for a week and I'm super excited. I heard it was really, really good, so I'm just super pumped. So I'm just going to take that in my crease, obviously. I think I'm just going to be doing one look for each of these for now because the second look that I'm going to do with this palette is going to be using the purples again, so it's not really going to be like that revolutionary because, you know, there's not really that many mattes in these palettes, so you can only use them so much, but yeah. If you hear any creaking, that is my space heater because I got a little bit cold getting out of my bed because I was working on my paper. Okay, so now the next shade I'm going into is called Azalea. And this shade is a bit softer. Maybe I should have used... Oh, that actually is really pretty. I was thinking about using it as my crease shade, but then I wanted to use that shade Shroom. But I don't want this shade to get lost, but I just need to build it up a bit more. That is a pretty color. Let's go back in. On this side, they are a bit powdery. These ones definitely have a little bit more kick up in the pan than the Batty Bean palette did. I'm noticing I'm getting a bit of kick up, but that's okay. I think it's still gonna be a really pretty look. I'm not really that concerned, but this shade is not really building up as much as I would like it to. So it's not really giving me that desired, you know, pigmentation that I was looking for. I might just take this through my whole crease, but I like how it looks. I think I'm just going to leave it alone. And then for my outer corners, I'm going to take, like I said, the shade Orchid, and I'm going to take that on my outer corners. Hopefully I mean, that is definitely going to give me the dimension that I was looking for. But I'm kind of noticing that these are much more powdery than I was hoping. I might take this shade through my crease just to deepen it up more, but I actually am liking how it's looking, but this shade is not really building up. Okay, that is better. I just needed to pack it on a bit more. I found with the Batty Bean palette, it just built up 1, 2, 3 like very easily. That is looking a bit weird. But I did watch, I'm not really loving how that's blending. Doesn't really look that great. But I did watch Karen Harris's review on this palette, because she did do 3 looks, like one with the Lauren May palette, one with the Batty Bean palette, and one with this palette. And this was the only palette that she had any problems with. And she said when she used this shade Orchid on her outer corners, it just wasn't blending great. And I am kind of getting the same effect with this shade. It kind of doesn't look good at all. All right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that all in my crease area, because I feel like it'll just blend better that way. Yeah, it definitely is. Unfortunately, I couldn't use that other shade, which kind of bums me out because I really wanted to use that one. But I think what I'm going to do is still take this in the defining area, and then I might take that shade Azalea just in my crease, but I like how that looks more than how it was looking. It definitely looks less patchy. So this purple isn't the best to layer, I would say, but also, like, I feel like with these shades, you don't need more than like 1 or 2 of them to get an impact. But I also think that they're not layering that great, but I'm going to take that shade Azalea and just try and use that to blend out the crease a little bit more. Yeah, I like that. That is so pigmented that it almost like covered up everything that I just did, but I think that's what we're going to do just so we can layer the mattes a little bit. And I think that looks good. And then I'm going to take that Orchid shade again just to build up that pigmentation. But do you see how much fallout I'm getting from that shade? That usually does not happen with Odens Eye. But like I said, I was kind of experiencing a lot more kickback with these shadows in particular. And they are a bit powdery to layer. I know purple is a hard color to do, but that was a little bit difficult to blend, and I'm not really used to that with Odens Eye. I'm used to Odens Eye not really being this difficult to lay down. I mean, I can still make it work. It's not like other mattes that, like the All Amethyst palette from ColourPop, that was absolutely awful. I just could not, no matter what I did, for the life of me, I don't know why I just took that so far onto the lid. I didn't mean to do that. I could not for the life of me get those to work. But these purples are just taking a bit more extra work to get blended. So I do have a bunch of fallout over here, but that's why I always do my eyeshadow first. So I'm just going to pop on some glitter glue. Okay, and then for my lid shade, like I said, I wanted to use the shade Lush. I think that this shade is really going to save this look. I mean, it's not like this look looks bad whatsoever. It's just like not the quality I'm used to with Odens Eye. Like, I know I'm not going to have a problem with the shimmers. I know the shimmers are going to be stunning. But also, I looked at this palette as being like one of the ones that I could use a little bit more on a daily basis, because I definitely thought that this was the most wearable one. Okay, let me just turn down the heater a little bit. got warm real quick in my room. But that shade is really stunning. It's like a turquoisey green, and I really like this shade. At first, I was like, how come she put this shade in here? Because I wasn't really sure how I was going to use it, but it really does go with the other mattes in here really nicely. But just the mattes do not want to play nice. But they're not bad, but they're just not the Odens eye quality I'm used to. Like I don't know if I've said that already. I've probably said that 3 times already. But like with the Batty Bean palette, it was so easy to apply those mattes yesterday. And that's what I'm used to with Odens eye. But again, purple is a hard color to formulate. But I don't really have these issues with the purple mattes in the Giant Wolves palette by Annette's Makeup Corner. I don't have any issues blending those purples, so just keep that in mind. But I do think it's a really pretty palette still. But I feel like I'm going to have to go into the purples again and build up the pigmentation because I'm kind of losing it putting the shimmer on. But I did see Karen Harris's video on this palette, and she said that this was the one that she struggled with, but it was mostly just that one purple shade. So I need to get my ass in gear though, because I have to be ready soon. So I'm just gonna take that azalea shade one more time and just, yeah, that looks better. I like that. Okay, I figured it would work out. It just took a little bit more blending to get there, but I like how that looks. It actually looks way better in person than it does on camera. And then I'm going to go back into the orchid shade again and just kind of build up that definition that we lost. Yeah, that looks fine. Just have a little bit of a blending issue, but I really do think it's going to be fine. Yeah, that looks good. I can't complain about that. It just took a little bit more work for this one to blend. I don't know what just happened over here, but I have to like layer these purples a lot. It's getting a bit annoying actually. And I have eyeshadow literally all over the palette. So this shade is extremely powdery. And I just want to put on a little bit more of that lush shade just so we get some of that shimmer back. But I had a bit of a blending issue over here. I'm not in love with how that looks. I think we're just going to come back to it later because sometimes it ends up working out. Because then I'm just going to over blend. But I just want to show you guys how messy my palette is right now. Like there's purple eyeshadow all over my palette. So that shade is really messy to work with. So I'm going to go do my base off camera and then we'll come back and finish up the eyes. Okay, so I went ahead and did my base and I'm telling you guys right now, I'm not loving how this crease is looking. I think the lid shade is beautiful, but I am having quite a bit of blending issues with these purples. It doesn't make me like hate the palette, but I think that the lower lash line is going to save this look. Even the lid shade is not really helping that much. So we will see how the lower lash line looks. I'm not very happy right now. But I don't think I'm going to have the same experience with the greens in here, but I can tell you guys right now, these are definitely feel like a different matte formula than the one that's in the Batty Bean palette. I feel like the Batty Bean is like the punchy, pigmented matte formula that I'm used to with Odens eye. These are much more powdery and not as easy to blend, so not really my favorite. So for my base, I just went in with my Do It spray, and then I went in with the e.l.f. Primer, the Power Grip Primer, and then for my foundation, I used one of my holy grails, which is the Lancome Teen Idol Ultra Wear Foundation in the shade 090. I've been through like 3 bottles of this. It's still one of my absolute favorites. At least my skin looks amazing because I love this foundation and it never looks bad. And then I went in with my tried and true concealer, which is my Tarte Power Flex in the shade Porcelain Sand. I love this concealer. And then I just went in with my Pat McGrath powder on the lower lash line. I mean, underneath my eyes, of course. And then I went in with my Dior powder. No, not Dior. My Urban Decay. What is in my eye to set my face? Okay, let's go into the palette and see what we can do. So I want to go in with this shade, and then I want to deepen up with one of these purples on the lower lash line. We'll see how that goes. So first I'm going to go into Dawn for the inner corners because I had to use this because it looks like such a stunning whitish multi-chrome. Oh, that's so pretty. See, again, I knew I wasn't going to have any issues with the shimmers in this palette. I knew they would be that same stunning Odens eye quality. So, I know that's going to be a really pretty, that's so pretty. And then I'm going to do that on this side as well, of course. And it's like, this is such a stunning multi-chrome. It has like blue and pink and gold and green in it, and it's just so beyond pretty. Why does that look so different on this eye? That's interesting. Okay, it kind of shows up a bit differently over here. It's like shifting differently, but oh, that's so pretty. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so I'm just gonna take that here. I just want to, you know, build it up just a tiny bit more, like right here. I've been taking my inner corner highlights pretty high because I really love how that looks. Really draws attention to the inner corner and I love it. Yeah, that's super pretty. Okay, just like that. And then what I'm going to do is take that shade Magnolia and do what I've been loving to do with a shimmer and just pop that on the lower inner part of my lower lash line, and that is a really pretty shade as well. This one's a bit more flaky though, so I gotta be a little bit more careful, but it's super pretty. Ooh. Definitely liking the lower lash line more than my crease right now. That's a gorgeous purple. Ooh, that's really pretty. Ooh. Oh, hopefully I won't get too much fallout on the lower lash line from the purple shade. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But I think I'm going to take Orchid, not Azalea. So I've been writing my paper in between, like, eating and all of that and filming. But I've definitely been doing a lot lately, so. But I'm just excited to go have some fun with my friends. I actually haven't seen some of them since December, so I'm very excited to see them. Going with one of my friends and her husband. I'm going with my friend from Suffolk Community College, and I'm going with my friend that I was one of her bridesmaids in her wedding in November, so I also haven't seen her in a while. I actually saw her recently this past week because she's actually on break from school because she's actually a teacher, like special needs teacher. So I'm going to go in with that shade Orchid, and I can say that it doesn't really cause too much fallout on the lower lash line. So I am happy about that. I guess it works better when you use it a bit more targeted. Like for me, I always know with Odens Eye that the look is going to come together. So I just got a bit nervous because that was a little bit hard to blend before, but overall, when the look is actually done, I always think it's beautiful. Like, I always have hope for Odens eye because I always know it's going to come together eventually. Okay, I took that purple shimmer a little bit too far into the lower lash line here. But I still think that looks so pretty. Okay. Yeah, I really like that. Phew. But yeah, seriously, like, I knew it was going to come together. I don't know how the heck I got some shadow here. That does not want to come off, so that's really actually annoying me. I'm just going to put some concealer on there. See, if you don't correct your mistakes, you're never going to learn. So I'm showing you guys in real time what I do to try to correct a mistake. So you're learning right along with me, you guys. Makeup is not always perfect, and I need to realize that. Even though I've been doing makeup for quite a bit now, like almost 7 years. I mean, I've always loved makeup. I've said this before. And I think I'm just going to try and blend this with no product now. Again, sometimes I just need to let the shadow sit sometimes, and then sometimes it just blends a little bit better. So I'm not going to take any extra product, and I'm just going to go through the crease. Yeah, that definitely looks better. I'm just going to take a tiny bit of that orchid shade and just lightly just add a bit more to the outer corners. Yeah, that looks way better. Okay, with these, you have to use a little bit more of a light hand in order to get them to work for you. And then I'm going to take the purple, I mean, not the purple, the blue one more time and just really pack it on the lid. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, okay. We definitely made it work. Just, of course, got some more fallout over here. Okay. So that is it for the eyes for now. I'm just going to do some liner and everything, and then we'll finish up the face. Okay, so I went ahead and did eyeliner and mascara. I went in with my Makeup by Mario black liner. Again, I've been using that a lot lately. And then I just went in with my Essence Lash Primer. It's always the same. And then I decided to go in with my purple mascara from the ColourPop Hocus Pocus 2 collection. And I really like how it looks with this because I did a purple crease, so I thought that would make sense. And then, of course, I just went in with my usual Maybelline Lower Lash Line Mascara. Okay, for bronzer today, actually, I think I'm going to use the Anastasia one. I haven't used it in a little while, and this one's a really good pigmented bronzer. I was going to use the Gucci, but I think we're going to go in with this one today. I really love this bronzer still. It's really beautiful on the skin. This is an old-ass bronzer from Anastasia. Literally nobody has texted me about this movie. Like, I'm kind of getting annoyed. The only person that contacted me was my friend that I am driving with, because he drives to my house and then we're going to the theater together. He actually lives pretty far from me. He actually lives further than how little time it's going to take for us to get to Queens, because it only takes us less than a half hour. Like, it's really not even that far because it's just like a straight shot on our expressway. So it's like super easy to get there. But I'm just like a little bit annoyed. Okay, I'm like really loving this look now. I really like how it turned out. It actually looks even better in person than it does on camera. Like, I'm glad that it turned out okay. It just took a little bit more extra work. That's okay. As long as the outcome turns out good, then we're good. But I don't think that these shadows are like the best, like, layering wise, you know? Okay, and then for blush, pulled out a really controversial person right now, but I really want to use my Rouge Romance palette from Jaclyn Hill. This product, I will say, is phenomenal. These are like some of my favorite blushes I've ever used. So I'm just going to mix these two shades together. They are very pigmented. I might just go in with I'm going to go in with Tempting. And then we're just going to pop on Pretty Posh on top, because these are very pigmented, but I will say that the formula of these are beautiful. Really, really good. Why is this turning out so orange? All right, we're just going to use this brush because I don't know why everything turned out so orange. It's my stupid brush. I'm like annoyed right now, so we're just gonna blur that out and try again because I don't know why it's so orangey. But that does look pretty though. All right, that's better. But they're so pigmented, it doesn't really matter what brush you use. But I was hoping that was gonna turn out a bit more pinky. I think that is, again, my own fault because it looks extremely orange. Okay, that I don't like how that looks, so I'm gonna go over it with my foundation. We're just gonna correct that real quick. That's why I love this foundation. It goes on so easily and you can just go right over it. And we're just gonna fix that because I don't like how that looks at all. We're not gonna go over the bronzer. We're just going over where that blush did not look great. I think it's just because of my brush, because I used a really orange blush yesterday. So that was my fault. And we're just going to go back in with my Urban Decay powder just to smooth that out. Okay, and now we're going to go in with this blush. Hopefully it won't be as orange. We're just going to take Tempting. I don't know why that looks so warm. It's usually not this warm looking on my face. All right, whatever. I really don't feel like removing it again, so we're just going to go with this shade. It's still a really pretty shade. I think I'm just going to use this shade because it's already pigmented enough that we don't really need to mix either of them. But I'm like hella annoyed that it looks so orange. Okay, whatever. Like, I can't fix everything and I'm starting to get real frustrated. I just need to I need to finish my makeup, so. Okay, I went in with a tad of Pretty Posh. I probably just should have used the original blush I wanted to use, but I think it still looks pretty. I just wanted something a bit more pinky tone, but whatever. So for my highlight, I'm going to go in with a highlight that I haven't used in quite a while. It's called Your Majesty from Lele Posh. And this is going to give me that like purpley sparkle that I wanted. Well, I didn't tell you guys what I was going to use before this, like if I wanted a purpley highlight. But this is like an extremely pigmented loose highlighter and it's like super sparkly. And I haven't used it in a while, probably like a couple months at least. But this is a really pretty one and I wanted to use it today. Even though I don't buy from this brand anymore, I still want to use what I have. You can't buy everything from every brand. It's just impossible, honestly. At this point, there's way too many brands to keep up with. I can't buy everything. Why is that not sticking to my nose? Why are we having so many difficulties today? I actually really like how the blush looks. It's just a little pigmented, but it's fine. It'll last forever, and that was the point. All right, I just need to go in with my lippy. I don't know if he left or what, but I'm starting to get real annoyed. Oh, wow, look at that. That's what I was looking for. is that Bam, because this highlighter is so stunning. Oh shit, he's here already. Alright, I'm just gonna have to film my lippy later. Goodbye. Okay, so hey guys, so it's just a little bit late right now, but I wanted to tell you guys what lippy I decided to go into because, like I said, my friend had showed up, so I didn't want to, like, make him wait any longer. But I will say that the eyeshadow still looks really pretty. The lid shade did transfer quite a bit though, but the lower lash line still looks so freaking pretty, and honestly, the transfer does not really bother me that much. I kind of didn't blend my outer corner well enough when I went out, so that was my own fault. That is not the eyeshadow, that was just my fault. But on the other side, it held up pretty well, so I'm not doing like a check-in. I just wanted to tell you guys what lippy I used. So I went in with my Gucci liquid lipstick. I remember the name of this. In the shade, I can't even see the name too because the type is so small. It's called Mildred Rosewood. So I used that because I thought it looked really pretty with the blush, and the blush actually ended up being a little bit more subtle than I thought, but I would have wished that I would have went in with a more pinky toned blush, and then I just set my face with my Milk Makeup setting spray. I did line with the shade Brink from ColourPop. I actually haven't used that in quite a while, so I was like, let me use this lip liner today, but I don't even know where it is right now. But that's the lip liner I decided to go into, and yeah, that's everything. So yeah, that's my first impressions of this guy. Where is the palette? I took it out of the sleeve. So I thought that this was pretty. It did take a little bit more time to blend, but that inner corner shade and that little sparkle on the lower lash line was really pretty. And also the lower lash line did really well. The matte shadow did not transfer to my lower lash line whatsoever. The shade Orchid and this shade Dawn in the inner corners. I cannot wait to wear that on the eyes. It's so pretty. So yeah, I'm excited to play more with this palette and see what else I can do with it and do a green look at some point. But yeah, since I had just so many palettes to test out lately, I just got a little bit overwhelmed. So I'm glad that I tried at least all 3 palettes now and tell you guys my thoughts. So yeah, that's it. I love you guys. So hey guys, so I wanted to do another look for you guys with the Flora Story palette in this video. So I want to do a 2 looks video for you guys. I'm also going to do that with the Baddie Bean palette. So we're going to jump back into the Flora Story palette today. I've actually only used this once, which was the first look that I did for you guys. So we're just going to jump back into it again because I've been trying to rotate all 3 palettes, so I wanted to use this one again today, besides the Baddie Bean and the Snow White palette from ColourPop. So today I want to do a green look for you guys. I was only going to film a second look for you guys if I was going to be able to dip into the greens at some point. I wasn't going to film like a purple look or anything like that. So I think what I'm going to do is just stick with the 2 green shades. I don't know if I'm going to use Shroom just because this shade might not be dark enough, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if I want to go in full-on green, but it's kind of more like an army green to like match my zip-up hoodie today. So I think I am just going to go in with Clover first, and we're just going to go in with that on the crease. Okay, it really isn't that bright, so these are kind of more like muted greens, so we're just going to go in with that shade first. Can't really see what I'm doing. So we did have like a snowstorm yesterday, but it pretty much cleared up today because it wasn't really that cold and it didn't really snow for more than like a couple of hours, but at least it finally did snow this winter because honestly we really haven't seen much snow at all here. But at the same time, like, I don't really love the snow, but I know it's like it's been kind of crazy with the weather going all over the place. Okay, I really like this shade so far. I think that from the reviews that I've seen of this palette, they definitely were enjoying the greens more than the purples. from what I remember, I think, I can't remember if Angelica Nyquist used the greens in her look. I did watch her 3 looks video with all 3 palettes when, before these were launching. So anyway, I'm just getting ready to see my boyfriend today, so I figured I would film this look. And honestly, green is a very wearable color for me at this point, so. And I don't remember the last time I did a green look. Yeah, it's been a little bit since I've done like a green look, so I thought that would be fun to do today. So I'm just going to buff that in my crease, and I'm just going to be doing the eye look in this video, and then I'll tell you guys all the products that I used at the end, just so this video isn't too long, because I know the first look that I did, I made that a bit longer, so just going to make this one the eye look, because the other products I'm going to be using are all products that I've used on camera before already. I'll just be like trying them for the second time. So far I like this shade quite a bit. It's blending really nicely. It's building up really nicely. I'm glad I started with this shade first. Okay, just like that. And then for the defining shade, I'm going to go into that shade called Sage. And we're going to use that to deepen up everything. I think I'm also going to take that on the outer corners. Yeah, that's a nice shade too. Yeah, the greens are really nice in this palette. They're definitely blending better than the purple shades were. I barely needed any of that shade, and it went right in my crease like pretty easily. So yeah, just like that, and then we're gonna do the green on the outside as well, but that took like 2 seconds to blend out. So I like how that looks too. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, just a really simple green look. You don't really have to make every colorful look really in depth, but I just do want to point really in depth. I mean, not in depth. I just want to point out that there is a bunch of kick up from the pan, but again, it doesn't like fall out on my face. Well, actually it is falling out a little bit on this side. So like I said, these Odens eye mattes in here are a bit more powdery than what I'm used to. And honestly, I could go in 3 different directions for my lid shade. Like I could do this shade and put this one on the inner corners, or this shade and put this on the inner corners, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the shade Misty, which is a really beautiful, super glittery green. It's like a minty green, and I'm going to use that all over my lid. So I'm just going to throw on some glitter glue first. Just give me a second. Okay, so once we have the glitter glue on, like I said, I'm going to go into that shade called Misty, and I'm just going to put that all over my lid. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. So at this point, after I use Best Buds, which is the one that I'm going to put in my inner corners, I will have dipped into all the shades already, which I'm actually surprised. I mean, there's only 10 shades, but obviously I'm going to have to continue to... Oh my god, that shade is really pretty. Ooh, I like that. I definitely like this look a lot more than the first one already. But the greens are performing way easier. And I actually even like this shimmer even more than that blue one. That's really pretty. Such an easy green look to do. Like I said, you don't have to be intimidated by colors. Sometimes it's pretty easy to get a simple, more muted look out of colorful shades, especially green. I feel like green is such a wearable color. And I like that she made these greens more wearable for people that want to like dip their toes into color but don't want to go like full on bright. This is a great option for you guys. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, so that is pretty much for the eye look. I only used 3 of the shades for that. But obviously we're going to go into some of the shades for the inner corners and lower lash line. But I really like how that looks. Like I said, for these for these how many times do I have to say that? For these palettes, you only need like 2 or 3 colors, and honestly, they really pack a punch. So I thought that that was going to be the way that I would use them anyway. So I'm glad that this look was like super easy to do, and it looks like you put in more effort than you actually did. And sometimes I really enjoy those types of looks, because then it doesn't take as much effort to blend for you to achieve them. So I like that concept of these palettes, is that like you don't really have to use that many shades in order to create an impactful, pretty look. So I'm going to do my base and everything, and then we'll come back and finish up the eyes. Okay, so I went ahead and did my base off camera, and I just used my 4th Ray Beauty Spray and then the NYX Marshmallow Primer. And then for my base, I used my Rare Beauty, I feel like there's like a piece of hair in my mouth, Positive Light Tinted Moisturizer in the shade, I don't know what shade this is, 10N. Really like this product. And then I just wanted something a little bit more matte today. And then for my concealer, I used my Milani Conceal and Perfect Longwear Concealer in the shade 110 Nude Ivory. I still love this concealer. And then to set my under eyes, I've been going back into the Becca Hydra Mist Powder, and I still love this powder. Oops. That is coming out on the sides a little bit. So I used that, and then I just set my face with my usual ColourPop powder. So let's go back into the Flora Story palette. I don't know why I keep on forgetting the name of this palette. And for the inner corners, like I said, I'm going to take the shade Best Buds. And it's like a really pretty like lime green, but it's kind of still muted. It's a really pretty green shade. I feel like I still have a bit mixed from what shade I used yesterday, because I used the Snow White palette yesterday, and I used like the shimmery white on my inner corners, and I feel like that was still on my brush, but it kind of works with this shade because, like I said, it's kind of like a light green. It's a really pretty color too. Like, honestly, I could be done like this, but I might add just a little bit more to the lower lash line, because I kind of want to connect the green. My dad just like slammed the door. I don't know why. I don't think I'm going to do this shade Dawn on the lower lash line. I think all I'm going to do is take the shade Sage and then just take that on the lower lash line, because this one's kind of, God, I swear, after I tap this off though, it gets all over the palette. And this one kind of has a bit more fallout than the purple shade that I used as well. So just be a little bit more careful. Maybe I just won't tap it off. I feel like I did get quite a bit of fallout. But it's still a good shade. It's just like kind of messy. So I'm just going to take that and put that on the lower lash line. And that's pretty much it for the eye look. My hair is bothering me again. So I haven't been putting my hair up lately because it's just been kind of chilly lately, but it's not cold in my room today, so I probably should have just grabbed a hair tie, but I keep on forgetting. Excuse me. That is just not wanting to apply. I mean, it looks fine though. It's pretty. Yeah, I like this eye look. It's really, really nice. So I only used like 4 shades from the palette, but it's just so impactful that like you don't really need to use more than that. So now I dipped into all of the shades at this point, because the first look that I did, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shades. And then for the rest of, today's look, I used the remaining 2 mattes that I needed to use and the 2 shimmers. So I've still actually dipped into every single shade. So I'm going to finish up my face and then we'll talk about my look. Okay, so my first look wasn't too long, so I'm going to finish up my face on camera with you guys. So for my rest of my like eyes and stuff, I went in with the LA Girl Perfection Precision Liner on the waterline, and then I just went in like in the brown shade, and then of course I used my Essence Lash Booster Mascara, and then I went in with my Act Natural mascara, and then I just went in with my usual Lash Discovery mascara. Just give me a second. Ooh. Okay, so now for bronzer, I'm gonna go in with my ColourPop matte bronzer. I've been kind of back into this one again, even though I've been using the House Labs one a lot. I just want to go back into this one again for a little bit. This one is still very pigmented, and it's in the shade Alviva Beach. I think I used this one yesterday too, but I just wanted to use it again. Okay, and then for my blush, I'm going to go back into the House Labs one because I wanted to use this one again in the shade Pomelo Peach. I might go back and pick up the pink shade because it's like a mauvey pink, and since I enjoyed this formula so much, I might go and pick up another shade. And you can kind of make this a bit more muted, like it doesn't look as intimidating as it does in the pan. And I just think it's a really pretty peachy shade. Just building it up. It's kind of more of like a buildable formula, which I actually really enjoy. I'm just going to take it on this side as well. Okay, I don't know why it's taking me so long to have an impact though. Sometimes it's either too pigmented or not pigmented enough for me, and like my blush has been like annoying me lately. Even though I've been setting my face and everything, it just like is not loving my cheeks right now. I don't know if it's just because of this brush at this point, like I don't really know. Okay, that looks good. But yeah, I am thinking about picking up the mauvey pink shade because I think it's really pretty. Yeah, I really like that. And again, it's not as bright as you think it is. Yeah, just like that. That looks pretty. Okay, and then for my highlighter, I'm going to go back into one of my newer highlighters as well. I'm going to go into the Positive Light Silky Touch highlighter in the shade Exhilarate because I want to use this gold shade again. It's a really pretty gold. Do I want to use the gold or the white one? I did just use the white one yesterday. I'm just going to go back into the gold one. These highlighters are so stunning. So I honestly just want to rotate between these two highlighters like for a week at least, maybe more than that, just because like I really just don't want to use any other highlighters right now because they're just so beautiful. And like I've said before this, like I was doing pretty good about not buying too many highlighters and too many blushes this year. Like the only other blushes I got were the Snow White blushes, and the only other highlighter I got was the one from the ColourPop Flirt like Valentine's Day collection. So I've been really good about not buying too many highlighters and blushes this year. Of course, with eyeshadow palettes, like I can't help myself sometimes, but and then I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. But this one is really, really pretty. So I had to pick these up because everyone's been talking about them. And like I said, they've been sold out like forever. So when they came back in stock, I was not missing out again. That's super pretty. Okay, just like that. And I do just want to blend the blush a little bit better. Okay, you guys, so this is the finished look. I really love how this one turned out. So here are the eyes, the cheeks, and the lips. So for the lips, I just threw on the House Labs matte lip crayon in the shade Peach Matte. I thought it would be really pretty with the blush. I also love peach and green together. I think they're such beautiful complementary colors. And yeah, I really like how this turned out. So that was the second look with the Odens Eye and Makeup Just for Fun Flora Story palette. And so far, I am really enjoying it. I would say the mattes aren't my favorite quality from Odens Eye because I'm really used to their mattes to be a little bit easier to work with. These are just very powdery mattes in this one. I find that the one that's the least powdery is this shade Clover. But some of these darker mattes do have a bunch of kick up and do have fallout when you apply them. So I would just suggest doing your eyes first before you dip into this guy, because then you just won't have fallout all over your face. But overall, I still think it's a beautiful palette. It's just not my favorite matte formula from Odens Eye because I know how good their matte formula is. That these are just a bit powdery for me. It's not like they still don't perform. They just take a little bit of extra blending. And it's not like they just blend away. Like, I still love how the looks turn out. Like, this is a really beautiful green look. So I'm going to continue to play with this. The next look I really want to do is a purple look with these 3 shades. That's probably the only 3 shades I'm going to use, and then I'll probably just use something else on my inner corners. Maybe the shade Dawn would be really pretty. But yeah, again, I think that this is a really easy, impactful palette to use with just using like 4 shades from it, and you pretty much get a complete eye look out of it. So like I said, I think that was kind of their intention with this collection. So yeah, and I really love the blush, and the highlighter is just stunning. So yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at TBW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. I might be recording 2 outros, so I might cut off the other one and obviously make this the outro. So yeah, I love you guys. Bye.